My name is Timothy, and I'm being told to share with you my experiences in the past month. I'm gonna have to take pauses along the way to process what I need to say next, so bear with me. This started about a month ago when I made a flippant comment to a friend of mine that I don't guess I have any enemies. If I do, God is gonna have to show them to me. Within 24 hours, my mind was ripped apart. The vision started when I was 6 years old. There was no one to talk to about them. I was not raised in church. God tried at 6 years old to get my attention, and it frightened me. He tried again at 12, and again at 16. At 24, I had a near-death experience. I went out of my body and I went through the tunnel, and I met that man we called Jesus, and he gave me a tour. I was sent back. And for the past almost 30 years, I've had to extrapolate what I was told and shown, and have been added on for the past 30 years. The visions have increased, the deja vus have increased, and now a whole new level has opened up. As my mind opened up and the visions started getting more intense, and I was seemingly bouncing timelines. It looked like single strands of like spaghetti in a box, but in another dimension, each strand being like a timeline. I would zip forward and backwards in these timelines to be shown my enemies. And when it started, when all of this started and the vision started increasing, I've had ancestors come to me a lot. My ancestors, other people's ancestors. I see a host of angels. Depending on which veil I'm instructed to look behind, there is a level of knowledge and sight that comes with that. I've had no one to talk to about this. I've had to totally rely on Father, my Creator. Some of these timelines mixed and twisted into reality runs in cycles. I've come to know there's 13 cycles. It runs parallel to the original zodiac. 13 timelines, 13 cycles, and virtually 13 times to get it right. The karmic cycle, whether you choose to believe in incarnation or not. If you choose not to, you didn't go do a fact check. You need to seek God on that, not man's opinions and beliefs. When this, for lack of better words, Pandora's box opened inside of my soul, everything I thought I knew vanished. Everything that I thought was solid and tangible, right down to love, was like smoke in my fingers. There are things we can control, and there are things that we cannot control. When I left out of my, I'm gonna say my 3D mind in the past month, I crossed what seemed like 100 veils into a different dimension. What I was shown almost warped my mind, but I've been shown a lot. This just added to it. Each one of our lives is predetermined before we ever get here. We help construct it. We sit with God. We pick our parents. We pick our siblings. We pick our birthdays. And only recently have I been shown that we also choose to experience the experience, for lack of better words, of different zodiac signs. Regardless of when our birthday is, we seemingly pick however many. Some walk all 12 or 13 to obtain higher enlightenment, thus being down here, poor choice of words, we're on an orb that they refer to as the prison planet. Jesus called it the top floor of Satan's house. He tried to tell us that we're the sons and daughters of God, angels, messengers, here on this orb called Earth and terraform, because of its land mass and water. This is like a giant video game down here. I'll try and not refer to this as down here, because the whole as above, so below is in reverse, because heaven is actually inside of us. Everything outside of us is hell, literally. Any points of place in our lives that a relationship with our Creator is not, is torturous. Thus, they call it hell on earth. We were sent to help each other. All of us. Our religions should not get in the way. Our beliefs should not get in the way. Our sexuality should not get in the way. If everyone was living a wholesome life and was waiting on the universe to send them either their soulmate or their twin soul, Father has shown me, and the entire universe has been showing me, that our planet is in the mess that it's in. It's due to witchcraft, hidden knowledge, principalities, rulers of darkness, all playing games with our minds. Leaders in very prominent places know this knowledge. They've known it for centuries. A lot of the lodges, when you get deeper in, they understand this knowledge. The average Joe does not. Now, what I'm about to tell you could mess with your mind. But upon picking your parents and coming down here for this experience, or coming in here for this experience, all the lessons are in reverse. If you get trapped along the way in one of the lessons, and most is tempted, we'll say, for lack of better words, to see if you can get through and recover the 7 deadly sins and get through them unscathed. If you do not learn the lesson in each one of those temptations, you will repeat the cycle until you learn it. You have to break it. As you break each one of those temptations of the 7 deadly sins, you start breaking generational curses that have been on your families for eons. Weights, holding on to lost loves or depressive natures, or trapped in their minds or emotions, and never plunging through to get out the other side. But upon you doing so, you start breaking the generational curses off your own lives and deal with your own emotions and bring everything back to you. Forgive everyone immediately. Forgiveness has to ring the bell of truth. if each person on this planet was walking in the love of the Creator, we would not have the issues we have, but we are in a multi-dimensional, multi-construct, copycat universe. There's a lot of evil in here. The design is to keep humanity dumbed down. But humanity cannot blame anyone but themselves, because they have to seek their Creator. He's not out there. He is literally inside of us, most of us, because we have our enemy in the other ones. Whether you believe in an enemy or not, he exists. He believes in you. When Father called me after my near-death experience and I went into training, I was trained in demonic warfare. It frightened me. The whole witchcraft aspect I did not want to dabble in or know anything about it, so I remain ignorant by my own ignorance. Fear stopped me from knowing. Now, in the past month of twisting through my mind of seeing all of this stuff, the construct that's going on is destroying the minds of our children and the adults that still have a mind. Their minds have been compromised. And then you have those that are totally oblivious to what's going on in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and they don't care. In the past few weeks, I've had countless ancestors of the people of this planet pleading, wailing, weeping, begging me to put this message out. It's a lot to handle. They are lined up as far as I could see. Evidently, no one else sees them. If they do, they're not helping. People, please listen to me. You have to get right with yourself. You have to heal your minds. You have to get back to your Creator. Or we're gonna destroy this planet. "2048 keeps coming up, and it has for a decade. I'm not sure what's going to happen at 2048. But after I figured it out on the calculator, that's 26 years, that's 2 cycles, 2 13-year cycles. We have to clean this up. We have to go inside of ourselves and heal this. I might offend some people right here, and I apologize. I was a Christian for a lot of years, ordained minister, wrote 3 books on the corruption of the modern day church before I was at the age of 30. What I found walking with Father and reading the words of Yeshua, who a lot of that Bible calls Jesus, but that was changed. He warned us that a great seducing spirit posing as Jesus would sweep through the church and deceive the nations of the world, and that God's people perish for lack of knowledge. He begged us to come out of the church and their beliefs and their thoughts, as the old text all did. Creator wanted his children to follow him by his spirit and by intuition, by knowing, understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, which are all levels that have to be achieved. There is a real, physical, spiritual staircase, if you will, called Jacob's Ladder. It's based on knowledges, levels of knowledge. Once you take your assignment, you have to get up all 12 steps. In between each steps, there's a time of rest, time to ponder. Level 6 for me was to let go of everything I thought I knew, and it was torturous to my mind. I was about 40 years old. This knowledge that we have to gain in order to get off this cyclical cycle time loop. We have to gain the knowledge that Adam and Eve sought to know. All knowledge comes from God. We have to gain the knowledge. It's not demonic. It's not spooky. It's knowledge. Knowledge gives power. When you understand that the center of the universe is literally inside of you, the kingdom of God is inside of you, this business about Jesus coming on a cloud here, that's not what he said at all. He said he was coming like a thief from within, from heaven, on a fiery cloud. Where's heaven? Inside. Seek first the kingdom of God. Inside. That's where the narrow path is. It has nothing to do with going to church and reading the Bible. You should read the red words, at least, and see what he said for himself, not what some man behind the pulpit is saying that he said. We're to develop a relationship with our Creator. We're to walk in love. Judge not, he said. Judge not, have no opinions. If you're an angel down here on assignment, of which most of you have no idea that you even have a contract with God to be down here, soul ties, soul contracts, twin flame contracts that cannot be broken. One cannot just rewrite the Akashic just because they don't want to fulfill it. Love has to endure. Those unions have to come together. Regardless of past circumstances, you have to heal. You have to heal. It's shown to me that all the pain on this planet coming out of all of you is based mostly based on your choices and the choices of your ancestors before you. You have to break the cycles of alcoholism and pedophilia, psychological trauma, emotional trauma, psychological betrayal, spiritual betrayal. You have to break those and heal from those. It's difficult. I've had a traumatic life, and the only blessed part that I've had is fleeting moments of joy that are only recently finding length. The loves you found along the way, that love doesn't die. I am love. I am truth. I am unconditional love. That does not change. I have no control over, nor do any of you, over who chooses to be in your life. You have to let each one make their own decision. You have no say. If there's anyone out there that can help me with something, I keep seeing an image I cannot find. It kind of looks like the Cadillac symbol. Similar in nature, except for it's like a crescent moon on the bottom and a full moon above that, and it's blue. And I know it's supposed to be at some point put on my forehead. I have no marks on my body. I'm not allowed. I'm a Hyoka empath. I feel when the sun burps. I feel when the ocean is angry. I feel when the galaxy and the entities that are in the galaxy are weeping for humanity. There's so much division, which is the plan and the design that turn us all against each other. In heaven, no one would have known that they had different colored skin. We shouldn't either. The religions that say that their God hates anyone should consider what God they're serving. If your God tells you to hate someone, and all of your manuscripts tell you that you're supposed to test the spirits, and the voice in your head that claims to be God is telling you to be anything other than love and forgiveness, you should test that voice. You should question its authenticity. I've talked to tens of thousands of people and pastors by the thousands all over America in the past 53 years. And I've been appalled at how many people and pastors tell me that they do not hear the voice of God, but yet they are trying to steer the sheep. It confuses me as to why they cannot hear the voice of someone that they are. Jesus, yes, you are. Father showed me a trick I was 6 years old when it all started. He told me he wanted to have a chat with me to get up out of bed and go to the bathroom mirror. I had to climb up on the toilet and lean up over the sink. When I looked in my eyes, as instructed, I saw him staring back at me, and it frightened me. I've told a great many people that say that they don't believe and they question God, whether He even exists. There's a proverb, apologies for not remembering word for word, my mind's a little trying to be honed right now. It goes something to the effect of, woe to the man that when he looks at his reflection in the mirror and he walks away, he cannot remember the reflection. The meaning of that proverb is, if you look in the mirror and you see God in you, you walk away, as that image that you permeated in your psyche, that you can conjure in a moment's notice if you focus your eyes and remember looking at yourself in the mirror. It's like those posters they used to have with the polka dots, that you had to let your eyes go out of focus to see the image that was hidden behind the polka dots. When you let your eyes go out of focus and you no longer see your face, you will see Father staring back at you through your own eyes. It may catch your breath. He can never leave us nor forsake us because He is us. We are fractalizations of the Creator, all of us. When Father showed me, he asked me a question one day. You love love, right? Why do you hate when it shows you love? If all is Father, and Father is all, isn't Father all? All your loves, all your neighbors, all the people at the grocery store, all the people across the country. All is all. The mind warp to what I'm trying to lead up to is I've been under heavy warfare and attack for the past 47 years. There's been heavy witchcraft. There has been spell work. I have fought visually demons while seeing demons and seeing angels and watching it all go down and trying to live in this world with everybody and their brother attacking me, betrayed me, calling me names, trying to defame my name. I don't care. I honestly don't care what any of you have done. It has made me love you more. It has made me forgive you more. We have to get through this, humanity. We really don't have a choice in the matter. Christians, stop telling people they're going to hell. We're all here, according to Jesus. Stop telling people all they have to do is believe. That's a lie. You have to believe in what the man said, not just believe in the man. For most of you out there that is still ridiculing each other's beliefs, you need to understand that the Spirit of Christ was also Buddha. He has been many people just like you. He asks you, are you not all Christs? Some of you say it's blasphemy, but then God asks you, are you not all gods? You're made in the image of God. How is it blasphemy to profess that you are one with the divine? Stop the division. Stop with your beliefs. Your beliefs, most of you on this planet, your beliefs are not even fact-checked. The books and the scripts were meant for guidance, to have a real relationship with the spirit you cannot see, not with words in a book, not with words in a text or a script. It was meant to drive you to your Creator, not for you to covet your beliefs, most of which are based on opinions, not facts. If you remember the golden rule, trust no man. See that no man deceives you, which makes it our responsibility to see that no man deceives us. Now you will be tempted. You will be tried. Even if an angel stands in front of you and declares their love, even that angel can be tempted. Jesus was a we greater than our teacher. There is so much that I want to say, need to say, and being told to say. It's going so fast in my head I can't keep up with it. But I need you to know that your ancestors keep coming to me. Ancestors from all over the planet. I see them. I hear them. I'm talking to ascended masters. Somehow, there's some kind of telepathy going on. With beings out there. Spirit, not demonic. Higher beings of light. It's like a radio transmuter through my soul. I'm not sure how to continue this, so I've just been shown that I have family members, all the people that I thought was my friends, people that I thought was part of my tribe, have all been working against me. It felt like my soul got fractalized when I realized how many enemies I truly have. By something as simple as praying against me, thinking they are praying for me, but it's actually a prayer against me, or striking matches and lighting candles, or going to voodoo doctors or hoodoo doctors, of which I've all been seen. It's been shown to me. It's not a lie. I have photographic proof of images that have shown up in my journey of people sending all kinds of things at me. I'm a very protected man. I stay close to Father. I feel like I'm just coming out of a 47-year fog due to all this witchcraft. The second I poured salt over my head as instructed, and I begged God to break these chains that were binding my mind of loneliness, of rejection, of not being picked for anyone's team. Not one of you picked me. 53 years I've met tens of thousands of you. Not one of you picked me. Not even to be my friend. No birthday cards. No I love yous, no hugs. So much betrayal. Father's been showing me my past lives. And let me explain something to you. When you get out of this orb, especially its spirit realm, there is no clock. Why do you need a clock? A clock is only on Earth. There's no spaceship got a clock in it. There's not a clock on Mars, unless Elon Musk put one. There's no clock on Jupiter. What would be the need? Father has been showing me my previous lifetimes, eons back, showing me contracts that have rolled over from previous lives into this one, and are still standing and cannot be broken. But that person's just not speaking to me because of backbite and gossip and rumors and people. You have to stop the backbiting and gossiping, tearing asunder. I don't care if you're gay, straight, purple, or green. You're destroying your own lives. You don't even know it, 'cause you reap what you sow. You put out bad, I'm gonna call them words. You reap back bad words. If you put out bad actions, you get back what you put out. I've struggled with some of this over the years because I give out so much love. I try to help so many people and do worldwide for free. I don't get paid for doing what I do for God. I never have. But I've never lacked. I've been stripped and left for dead 11 times. The 12th time, shortly after, I kind of come to in the hospital with a team of doctors telling me, "You've run out of time. Go live your life." I didn't have one person in my phone that I could call. There was not one person on Facebook that I could call. There was no one but God. Father got me through it. A few weeks after, I was talking to an individual on the phone. I dare not speak his name for his own security. On that day, while I was talking to him on the phone, for 3 days, an image of a woman sitting in a rocking chair with a bonnet on her head, with the American flag folded up, sitting on that rocking chair in my sight and spirit realm. When that man called me, about 5 minutes into the conversation, that woman in that rocking chair jumped inside of me, and she cussed that man for everything going politely. When it was all over, and now 9 months later, I didn't even remember having the conversation. God brought it back to my remembrance. I was horrified. I was appalled. I may have told that man the truth, but it was the way I delivered the message. It's broken my heart since. And Father has shown me that this is what's wrong with humanity. The message of truth is not easy to swallow. It's not easy to deliver. But we can't hide it anymore. Our earth is in peril. The souls in this planet is in peril. Has our ancestors died in vain? Have they fought in vain? Have they prayed in vain? Have they fasted in vain? Humanity, please wake up. They're doing witchcraft against us on a massive level. Some of your friends and your family, it's as simple as striking a match and lighting a candle and speaking your name into those flames. There are protection spells. I don't advise people get into any of this if you don't know what you're dealing with. You need God. I know Him as I am. I was told He was not Jehovah, nor Yahweh. That is Enki and Enlil, brother gods in this. Come on, scientists, what do I call this? Paradigm? Dimension? I don't know. I'm feel like a newborn baby for about the dozenth time. This one's got me shook. It's an ascension. It's making me leave everything behind. And there is but one person that I don't care to leave behind. One out of 8 billion of you. So far, not many of you've given me a reason to even want to live down here with you. Yeah, there's some friendly hippies out there, some vegans, and some really fun cowboys, and great musicians, great speakers. But y'all, rather than put a band-aid on everyone's problems, can we just rip the band-aids off? We're running out of time. And you all know it. You've all heard the call. every one of you, or God would not be just. He's quick to hear and easy to forgive. Just say hello. If you don't know how to pray, it's like talking to your best friend. And if you don't know what repent is, it's confessing those areas in your life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, where perhaps you've missed the mark. Cuss that person out and you shouldn't have had to, or you shouldn't at all. Those people that you feel betrayed you, all your in-laws and families and friends that you believe have betrayed you. Was it really a betrayal? Or was it not a lesson that Father, being all, perhaps manifested in each person's body in all of our lives, and He, in fact, because He is God, played both our teacher and our student, ironically enough. We're all Him, people. There is no separation. And in order to evolve out of this, all of us have to base our beliefs on facts, not opinions, not judgments, not passed down beliefs that have no factual base. I know a great deal of you are out there suffering right now. I feel you. And I'm sorry you're going through such torment. I really am. I feel it. It's been difficult over all these years to try and figure out how to balance the energy that comes in, because I know most of it's not mine. I live a very peaceful life. On the times that it was not peaceful, it was produced by others' hands, but I see now that it was still Father. His love for us is amazing. That whole process of Jesus telling everyone in the book of Revelation, all those churches, I applaud this and that, but I have this one thing against you. You left me. You abandon Christ in yourselves. We've all betrayed ourselves by not loving ourselves as our Creator loves us unconditionally. You know, I've talked to a lot of people over this world, and they try and tell me that I don't have the power to forgive sins. But yet God tells us that we have, all of us has the power to forgive sins. If not us, then who? If you go through a process of judging yourself now, examine yourself, not judging yourself harshly based on religious dogma or a whole list of do's and don'ts. My walk with Father and I had an encounter about 7 years ago, Valentine's Day. I had asked God to send me Michael the Archangel to teach me a lesson on being a coward, not understanding some things. I was instructed to get my affairs in order, and I asked why, to that depth. And he said, "Who did you ask for?" And it hit me. Well, I asked for the biggest, baddest dude. 3 weeks later, I was at the flea market in Colorado Springs. When I approached this man's table, Before I approached this man's table, I felt an enormous amount of energy, but I could not identify it. It was just powerful. But I knew what I had requested, so I was expecting what I requested in a human body, because that's how this works. Upon approaching this man's table, he caught sight of me, and he was very similar in appearance to me, like a cousin. We chatted for a few minutes, and the second time he extended his hand to shake my hand because I didn't do it the first time. It was out of sequence. Upon this man extending his hand, 41 years of visions come flying forward, and I gasp inside my soul. I told this man, "I do not know you by that name. I do not know you by that name, sir." I had not told this man my name. He said, "I know, Timothy. You know me as the Destroyer." I said, "What are you doing here?" I asked for Michael. He said, "I guess I channeled Michael." By free will and not, because I was trapped in the lesson. I was trapped in the lesson for 77 days. I learned the hard way by being beat to a pulp every day. I learned in reverse what a coward is. A coward is not someone that can't fight or chooses not to. There's many levels of cowardice, just like pride and ego and all the rest of them. The lesson I learned is you have to have a voice. You'll be deemed as a spiritual coward if you don't even try. You don't even start your spiritual journey. I've learned along the way that a great many people, if they don't wake up really fast, They're going to be charged with insurrection, raising yourself above the knowledge of God. That was Lucifer's doings. Lucifer's not Satan, y'all. Lilith is not Baphomet. I think I've about met them all in a human body. I want to tell you something. It's very personal to me. On my travels with Father to encourage myself, while the Christians battered me, they beat me spiritually and mentally. They refused to listen to the words of their own king. Their pastor's interpretation was the one they wanted to hear. And damn you, demon, if you try and even put them on the narrow path. To encourage myself for the first 22 years of this journey. So from 24 on. Once Father took me behind the veil and took me down into the catacombs, where I met this being that I still don't even know his name. 300 foot tall. Body of a man, head of a bull, black as Orca the whale. After Jesus introduced us, and he introduced me to it snorted and steam come out of its nostrils, as if to say, piss off, you little twit. Jesus asked me, are you ready? I said, for what? He said, we're going to take a walk. I said, here? He said, yes, let's go. He held my hand. We walked through what seemed like an endless hallway of what I come to know as catacombs. There were holes in the sides of the caves, and there were hundreds, if not thousands, of souls in each one of those holes, piled on top of each other. We went down halls and corridors. He walked me across the lake of fire, where we conversed for what seemed like hours. I went through the cogs of God, huge, massive, tightly fitted cogs like inside of a clock, like the clock of the Master. I had to navigate through very patiently, fearful that the cogs were going to catch my clothing or catch some part of me. Once I made it through the cogs, I had to go through the briar patch. You know, these briar patch we deal with down here in this realm are the size of shark's teeth. Those briars were razor sharp and the size of buildings. And I had to navigate through that without fear. He showed me outer darkness, myself and another soul on a star that had lost its light. It was no more. It was just a black marble out there. We were both perfectly balanced on the top of it. We knew if either one of us fell, we would forever fall into outer darkness, forever falling. He fractalized me in a billion pieces, like dust floating through the cosmos. Pieces of my eye floating that way, the size of dust, me, all of me. In feeling the emotions of being that fractalized and being blown in the wind of the cosmos, never to be sorted back together. I've seen outer darkness in so many ways. That whole journey to the center of the earth, it's there, folks. It's there. After my near-death experience, I was standing on the beach with Jesus, next to the lake of fire. And he said, "Timothy, I have to send you back." Before I could say no the second time, I came through that atmosphere, through a bubble, up through multiple layers of lava, a handful of layers of earth and crust, through the concrete ground of the apartment building I was in, through the bottom apartment, through the ceiling, up through the floor, through my bed, and back into my body. This was at 24. I was horrified at what I had seen. That was the first introduction to understanding that we are in the place that Jesus and many others tried to tell us. Now, to break this down further, in this diadigm shift with all of these entities in here in spirit realm and psychic realm and our galactic friends trying to support us and help us raise our consciousness so that we can get off of this wheel. Have we really gone that far, folks? From caveman images on a wall to Giphies and emojis in a text. Have we really gone that far? When you understand that you're in a giant video game, The Matrix, it's an illusion. It's what we've created for ourselves. Places to shop and things to eat. All testing us on the 7 deadly sins. To see if we can break these patterns And as each year goes by, the tests get more difficult because there's more toys thrown at us to distract us. Each year that goes by that we don't deal with these karmic debts that we're dealing with and misguided love affairs. Anything that we start out a relationship based on anything other than wholesomeness creates a lot of issues. What I'm about to tell you is a personal conversation with Father. I don't care what Paul said. I do not care. I go based on what Jesus said, what Buddha said, what the Nag Hammadi text said, what the Sanskrit said, what the Torah said. If you haven't studied it, be quiet. You don't have the truth based on a book called Bible. Even Bible told you that all the truths of God could not be contained in the book. He told you not to fight and argue about the book and the things in the book, to take it to Father. Hosea 4:6 and Romans 11, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And because you despise knowledge, I'm going to despise you and your children. I'm going to make you stupor and hide the mysteries of the book. The person that will be charged with insurrection is thinking they know more than God and think they know it all because some pastor or some preacher or some family member told them all you have to do is believe and say this I'm sorry sinner's prayer and poof, it's all done. That is a lie from the pits of hell. That promotes laziness, gluttonous, pridefulness, all the 7 deadly sins to sit around on your tail and do nothing that your master told you to do. Go inside. Humanity, we have to stop sitting around watching the wars. Pray that God stop these wars. Pray that God stop the attacks against the minds of our children. God doesn't give a flip whether you're gay, straight, purple, or green. Your religion and your religious beliefs does. Trust no man meant just that. Jesus said we are to adhere to every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. He did not say out of the mouth of a book printed in hell, of which you can trust nothing. You're not supposed to have crosses around your neck, no graven images, no idols. The most of you have made a god out of the Bible. It didn't die on a cross for you. It's made of wood. No wooden images. You swear up and down it's the holy word of God, and it was printed in hell, pieced together. They told us that the scrolls and the manuscripts and the scripts and everything else, when the parchment and the papers they used back in the day and the inks, most of it had been destroyed, eaten away by the sands of time. They admit that they added to what they thought it needed to say, and then you have all the other canons that someone decided that humanity didn't need to see. And they've been sealed behind stone walls, black as night, like onyx, with wielding with wielding angels, standing cloaked in black armor, if you will, with wielding swords, zipping around them so fast that no mortal man could come near them. You have to have spiritual authority to get into that room, to even see them. I've had a long walk with Father. I've sacrificed so many loves because I knew those loves were going nowhere. I've sacrificed great love to serve God, to help humanity. Seemingly no one wants to know. Things are not what they seem. When I look behind, I can pull about 4 veils together before I have to go to another dimension to cross through to see the next level. But the first 4, if you put them together, there are a great deal of beings and entities by the millions standing all around all of you. Angels, demons, spirits, ancestors of the dark and ancestors of the highest light. You have guardian angels, spirit guides, angels in charge of you. But there are like those black slithering things, like in Harry Potter, standing there waiting to devour you by the thoughts of your own conjuring. For 15 years, Jesus kept telling me, Timothy, it's all based on thoughts. You chose to believe it. Choose to believe it. Unbelieve it. This is like Alice down the wormhole. All those beliefs that humanity that would spew on me as a child, and you take in, God hates you, you're an abomination, you're a faggot, God's gonna send you to hell. I struggled with that for the first probably 40 years of my life. "30 for sure. 30 for sure." At which time Father sat me down and showed me that love is love. We are genderless and bodiless before we come. We are genderless and bodiless when we go. There is no marriage in heaven, he said. There'll be no having babies in heaven and fornication and all that silliness. It's the uniting of souls, rejoining with your twin, that when both of you've learned the lesson, you can ascend back to Father as one. Not everyone down here is a twin soul or has a twin soul, but almost everyone in everyone's path, in some form or fashion, whether it be your mom, your dad, your cat, your dog, is some form of a soul connection, because you and it, or they, not it, they, you can't have a soul connection with a plant. One day I was in the garden talking to the plants, and Father asked me, "Timothy, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm talking to the plants. I'm giving it energy." He says, "No, it doesn't hear your energy. It feels your energy. There's a difference." I know I'm bouncing around, and because there's so much going through my mind, and I'm pausing to try and figure out what I need to say next. I'm not even on this planet most of the time. Father tells me I hover about the 7D, for those of you that are in the knowing. I'm not here most of the time. I'd rather stay in the presence of my God than in the presence of most of the people in humanity. And I'm sorry to tell you all of that. The most of you are not very nice. This COVID thing has brought even more division. Now that the ban's been lifted in most places, people are still isolated within themselves, and they won't even say hello. And when you say hello to people, they look at you rudely. I feel that energy. There's a great many empaths on this planet, probably as many as there are narcissists, which suck off of us like succubus, like vampires, through emotions, through entrapment, spiritual ties that should have never been. There's not big ceremonies involved, but it's not as simple as saying, "Oh, I cut this or that," or "I rebuke this or that in Jesus' name." It's not that easy, folks. Stop kidding yourself. Stop kidding yourself. If it was that easy, we'd all have Ferraris and live in palaces, because we said in Jesus' name and poof, it happened. Aren't you tired of your prayers not being answered? It's because you're on the wrong path. You think you're on the right path. It's an illusion. You can't be on the same path as everybody in your church, or you're on the broad road doing what everyone else does. You have to be on the narrow path, inside yourself. There's no church gonna help you. They can assist, The books can assist. But at the end of the day, as Jesus said, a great innumerable sea of those that call him Lord, Lord, will be outside that gate, weeping and gnashing their teeth, trying to figure out why. But yet they claimed that they prophesied and cast out demons in his name, like that was very important. It had nothing to do with the mission coming down here. You're casting out demons in hell. Really? If you had the effectual power and the authority to do such a thing, you should just be able to speak to it and tell it to leave. You shouldn't have to pray it out for 3 hours. And then maybe it went out. I'm going to give you this last thing to think about, and then I'm going to call this a night. Father explaining to me the whole as above, so below. It's in reverse. Kind of like the way people pray that they bind the spirit of this and they bind the spirit of that. Father showed me some 30 years ago that if you bind something, you're tying it to that thing. So when they're binding the spirit of this and they're binding the spirit of that and they're praying over people, they're actually binding spirits to that person. And they believe, because that's the way their church taught them, that they're doing it correctly. And you're not at all. Loose that spirit and send it back to the dry places. And bind that person with the mind of Christ and with wholesomeness, solidarity, integrity, and for a heart after God. Loose those spirits. Send them to the dry places, or tell them to come, return from whence you came. You have no place. Get. You can't walk in light and darkness at the same time. It's impossible. You can't have two masters. You can't serve this world and serve the invisible world. You have to pick a side. As above is actually inside of you. As below is also inside of you. But as above is outward, until you cross the spirit realm, then you understand there is no differentiation. None. When you understand that you have a choice, you can either choose to be Father, or you can choose to be the darkness. Call it what you will. Some call it the Dajjal. Some call it the Jinn. Some call it Satan or Lucifer or the devil. At the end of the day, it's still based on your thoughts. Your thoughts produces either light or dark. In this world, collectively, are singularly. Your thoughts and energy that you put out into this world, singularly or collectively, is the amplification of the speeding up of the demise of this planet. How many people want to die? How many people have given up? They're weary. They're exhausted. They need the truth, and the truth is not there. They've withheld it to keep the people dumbed down. Who is they? There is no they. There is no them. Only us. Only one. Whether they're walking in darkness or light. The light needs to unify. One mind, one accord. Father asked me a very important question a few years back. He said, "Timothy, tell me the difference between what I'm asking humanity to do and the New World Order." It took a minute to chew it, but it was very simple. It's all in who you hold your allegiance and your worship to. Do you hold your allegiance to a man claiming to be a god externally of you? Or do you hold your allegiance to a man that is you inside of you, whether you're a man or a woman? I am not a biased man. You cannot be deep-rooted in anything on this earth. You cannot. You cannot be so deep-rooted in your beliefs that you are unteachable. You have to have a broken and a contrite spirit. You have to be like a child. When you go to Father, you can't go arrogantly. You go boldly, but you can't go arrogantly and pridefully. He'll not listen to you. And if you've not forgiven the people you believe have wronged you, He's not going to hear you. You have to forgive your brothers, all of them, before Father will even listen to you. There's no cheating. You can't hate your neighbor and backbite and gossip and believe that God is hearing your prayers. There's demons hearing your prayers too, you know. Demons answer prayers too. Whenever Father leads me next to do the next recording, I'll try and pick a subject. I understand I just unloaded an awful lot. It's a lot to get out there. I can't do it in one setting. There's no way. You know, religion and Jesus talked about the laying on of hands. Once you cross out of Christianity and you understand the mysteries a little deeper, you understand that Any religion is like one bubble in a universe full of bubbles. What do you want to learn next? I was asked. I popped out of Christianity. I learned the lesson. I went through metaphysical. I learned the lesson. When I popped out, Father says, where do you want to go from here? It's infinity, Timothy. Time does not exist. There is no such thing as time. Only on earth. And everyone's screaming right now, including myself. I have been for 30 years. You're running out of time to get to know your master, your creator. I've heard so many people tell me, well, I know I'm going to hell, so why even try? Well, you're not going anywhere. If you choose not to do this according to your life's purpose, you'll stay here. You're not going anywhere. And I want to clear something up to a great many of you so you can stop lying to your children and lying to yourself. Heaven is inside of you. When you expire, you go back into yourself. You go back to that heaven. Aunt Mary did not float up out of the sky and go to some place out there way far, far away. If Aunt Mary didn't break the generational curses, and Aunt Mary didn't take the time necessary to get the knowledge, to get up Jacob's ladder, to ascend, Aunt Mary just went behind the veil into a place that a lot of people don't want to call it by that name because that name does not mean what it is, and that is purgatory. All it means is that you are behind the veil without a body. You now have no internet. You have no preacher. You have no one telling you the truth. You have to hear it through your spirit ears, which is morphed. It's distorted. Now you have no choice when you're behind the veil but to depend on your spirit guides and your ancestors and those to help you understand that the process of this was to heal from all the trauma and the pain. But you cannot live a life of lust and greed, and this world is not your home. You're not to store up treasures here. What does it prosper a man to gain the whole world and lose his only soul? I've met too many people that just gave up. It was too hard to go on. Their mind couldn't wrap around the truths that their inner guides was trying to show them. God won't put any more on you than you can take. But that doesn't mean that He won't put a whole pile of stuff on you that by the time you get to the point to where you can't take any more, you feel like you've gone past the point of taking any more, and then you're done. How about you do this for yourself? How about the first thing is you either take a salt bath if you can, or you take table salt and pour it over your head, and you ask God to break the chains that bind your mind, and to break the illusions that you've placed over yourself, to break the projections, false projections, illusionary projections. Ask God to break the soul ties that keep you bound. Ask God to break or help you break. I've only recently been instructed to call on my ancestors of the highest light, my spirit guides, the angels that are protecting me. I ask for the Holy Spirit. I ask for Jesus. And I ask for Father to help me understand the things that I do not. Generational curses. You have to ask. You have to ask for help. I know a lot of people don't like to. I don't ask humans for nothing. There's not many of you that could ever profess that I ever ask you for anything. I do not ask man for anything. I ask Father. I rely on Father to work through others that are led by His Spirit. I'm tired of babysitting all of you. I'm sure you're tired of babysitting all of us. So can we join together? Humanity? Can we? This is the pinnacle point. If you keep on the path that you're going, with the mindsets that are in this earth, we're going to destroy it with our thoughts, by letting other people's actions destroy it. There'll be nothing left. Big ball of fire. Nothing left on it but sand. And what? You want your great grandkids to be wallering around like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome because you wouldn't open your throat chakra? I'm being reminded of a story that I started to tell you earlier. You know, to encourage myself, I would go down into the pits, into the torture chambers where the demons rip chakras out, gems that are placed in our bodies, that are actual gems, that a great deal of humanity doesn't even know about them, nor do they believe in them. A great many Christians think it's hocus pocus and that knowledge is from the devil, even though God told them that all knowledge is from God. I used to go down in spirit form, and I would prop my leg up against the wall standing, and I would watch them, the demons, rip the gems out of the souls of those that got trapped in that lower dimension. They would rip their gems out and they would throw them in a pile. The red ones over there, the blue ones over there, the white ones there, the clear ones there, the yellow ones. And then another demon would come along with a little tiny wooden wheelbarrow. And he would put just enough in there to get it full. He would walk to a doorway that was the holder of those colors, and he would pour the wheelbarrow in and come back and get another load. I did this to encourage myself and to try and reverse all the discouragement that the religious people of today and the damage they would do to my psyche, telling me I was from the devil and I was a demon, and all I've done was trying to help humanity all over America. I've met people from all over the world. I've lived a very full life, but I'm not done. Witchcraft and demonic activity tried to kill me, tried to destroy my psyche. They tried to convince me that I would never get up. Every time they beat me, it drove me closer to Father. Every time a demon come along in the form of a Christian woman, usually a woman bound with the spirit of Jezebel, usually in some leadership position in the church, hell bent on destroying anything that resembles light and truth. They like to call the police. They like to make you homeless. They like to get you fired from your job. They like to get you ostracized from your communities. And I'm not talking just one or two. I've had dozens upon dozens. Why that spirit of Jezebel attacks Christian women and gay men is beyond me. That know-it-all spirit. That you're not gonna tell me anything spirit. Then you have the spirit of Lilith, which wants to abort all the babies and destroy the souls coming into this world, trying to help humanity. If you knew the truth, you'd understand that you, in your body right now, are either your great-great-grandmother back here again, or your great-great-grandfather, and you're back here to right your wrongs against your family and your ancestral lineage, your bloodline, all the way back to where? Where do you want to take it? Noah? All the way back. Your ancestors are pleading for you to wake up. I'm tired of grieving over all of you. I'm tired of talking to your ancestors. Though I don't mind, I've got quite the education talking to them. You have to wake up. You have to realize you've been deceived. This is all the stories of the fairy tales. If you think about it, you've got all the Cinderellas and the Wicked Witches and the Wizard of Oz and the Flying Monkeys, and they've tried to tell us a million ways. All the movies, we're the superheroes. Pick yourself up out of the mud. Go back to God, not religion. I'm not telling you to go to church. Jesus didn't tell you to go to church. He told you to stay out of the church. Sorry, pastors. Your extortion business, how you drain the pockets of your followers and fatten yours, those days are over. God is tired of your foolishness. And Judgment Day is here, whether you want to listen or not. And Judgment Day doesn't have anything to do with the perils in the world. It has everything to do with the Spirit of God calling you out. The line has been drawn in the sand. You have to make a choice and follow through with your allegiance. If you do not make a choice will be made for you, and you're not going to like the consequences of your not standing up for something because you choose to fall for everything. This is all your free will. You can't blame your pastor. You can't blame God. You can't blame your brothers or your sisters. You can't blame the devil. Because this has all been your free will to either throw your life away, drink it away, pray it away to a God you think you're praying to, but you don't even know who you're praying to because you didn't study. The Creator introduced Himself to me as I am, by no other name. And later I found out why. He is I am.